stress is all around us in everyone's life, in every field. And stress simply is defined as physical, mental, and emotional response to difficulties or difficult situations. Students are preparing in a stage of their life when they are growing up. They are learning life skills also. So, while preparing, it's a good practice that you also start to understand yourself, your thought patterns, and the physical reactions that there may be. Some amount is good because it allows us or it inspires us to do better, but it is unmanaged stress and long term or chronic stress which leads to unwanted effects on our health. The suggestions in this context generally revolve around one, maintaining a schedule where your sleep is an important part. Now, sleep is a wonderful mechanism that our body has for repair functions. So, focusing on how can I improve my sleep pattern, that is utmost important. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is recommended generally.
Hello and welcome to this special conversational series of Vision IAS with faculty. Today we will be discussing a very important topic of managing stress. And to discuss it with us, we have today an esteemed faculty of Vision IAS, Anjani sir. Welcome sir.
Thank you, Kapil.
Sir, before we dive into the topic of managing stress for UPSC preparation, can you point out the factors that contribute to stress while preparing for UPSC exam?
So, Kapil, to understand this, we may start with the acknowledgement that stress is all around us in everyone's life, in every field. And stress simply is defined as physical, mental, and emotional response to difficulties or difficult situations. So, when one is preparing for an examination like the UPSC civil service examination, one is dealing with the demand of work in terms of covering the subject area and understanding different aspect of the examination. B, one is dealing with uncertainty that comes with it because the examination is a long drawn out process in different stages. And C, many a times the stress is coming from preparing from unfamiliar environment, preparing by living in an unfamiliar environment. We are staying out of our home, away from our familiar environment, away from our social circles or friends. So, all these factors combined lead to building of stress during the preparation of the examination.
Sir, students who are preparing for this exam and those who are going through stress don't always have the idea, okay, I'm going through this process of stress or I'm having anxieties. So what are some signs that can help student identify, okay, this is something that is stress and I have to deal with it?
So, students are preparing in a stage of their life when they are growing up. They are learning life skills also. So, while preparing, it's a good practice that you also start to understand yourself, your thought patterns, and the physical reactions that there may be. So, stress in some amount is good because it allows us or it inspires us to do better, but it is unmanaged stress and long term or chronic stress which leads to unwanted effects on our health. So, it is about our overall health and well-being. So, thereby the ability to watch our thought patterns and watch our physical reaction to what is happening around us would help us in first acknowledging that I may need to take a step back or I may need help. Now, in this context, if you notice a repetitive negative thought pattern, right, when you are simply thinking about the results, when you start feeling certain degree of hopelessness in terms of sleep, when you see that your sleep cycle is changing, that you find it difficult to sleep, or when you notice, for example, shallow breathing and a sense of overwhelm at times, for example, when you are dealing with difficult subjects or when you are thinking about the result. So, noticing these signs is an important starting point, especially if you see that your sleep pattern is getting disturbed. That is a time when you should think about focusing on managing your stress urgently.
So sir, what are some techniques or methods through which students can manage these stress levels or improve their mental well-being?
So we can see that in general, professionals in this field and all of us, including me personally, I have also been trying to understand how to best manage stress. So the suggestions in this context generally revolve around one, maintaining a schedule where your sleep is an important part. Now, sleep is a wonderful mechanism that our body has for repair functions. So, focusing on how can I improve my sleep pattern, that is utmost important. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is recommended generally. Secondly, some amount of physical activity is always helpful, that is suggested by wide range of sources. Almost everyone who talks about mental health and stress management talks about physical activity. So for example, you can change or break the chain of repetitive thought by simply changing your physical position. For example, you go for a short walk, and if possible you make going for walk a regular part of your life, or any kind of physical activity that you can take up as an exercise. Thirdly, learning about techniques of stress uh, release or stress management. Now in this category we have exercises like meditation, mindfulness meditation, which is simply focusing on the present, right? Focusing on the present in the sense you can think of focusing on your breath only, and that helps you in controlling the thought spiral which may be going in the negative direction. And apart from meditation, mindfulness meditation and other kinds of meditation, you have a very simple resort to focusing on your breathing. So for example, some sources would suggest box breathing, right? That you inhale for a certain seconds, then you hold the breath, and then you exhale. So a longer exhale is considered to be a relaxing exercise. So breathing techniques are the other one. Next, we can think about uh, if suppose we feel a sense of overwhelm, can we step back? So for example, if your thought pattern, your thinking about the examination is overwhelming you, you can always step back. There is no urgency. You can always step back and you can see, can I, for example, clean my desk? If my desk is cluttered, can I clean it? So this exercise is taking away your attention from the obsession, and then it is giving you time and it is giving your body to recuperate. And then apart from that, people would also recommend taking a hot bath as a way of relieving your stress. Now next is nutrition. What are you eating? So generally there are certain do's and don'ts that professionals would recommend. For example, not too high an intake of sugary drinks or uh, sugary food, or not too much high intake of caffeine. Now if these can be avoided, that would also add to our stress management. And I would also like to add that if you can add some part of nature to your life, right? Spending some time in the open, exposing yourself to the sunlight. Now that is also a good way or good practice which would help you, if you do it regularly, in managing your stress.
Sir, at one point it becomes difficult for the individual to manage this stress level or anxiety by themselves.
Right.
So, how important is seeking help with this regard?
So it is very important to seek help. It's as important as understanding the importance of your goal, right? Ultimately, it is about your well-being. You achieving a certain goal, becoming a civil servant is also in a way related to your well-being. What kind of life would you like to live? So once you recognize that your simple intervention or your efforts are not helpful in relieving the stress, it's time to seek help. And so for example, one of the aspects of managing stress is having good social bonds, good social relations, friendships, or our relation with family, or our relation with community is also something that helps us in managing our stress. All right. So in, for example, in our home, we benefit from the wisdom of the elders, right? They give us a longer perspective of life, and that is helpful. But when we are preparing away from life, sometimes we miss that perspective. So thereby seeking professional help, if it is available, is a good idea.
Sir, Vision is also now trying to help students professionally managing their stress levels. So, can you throw some light on it?
So we, as I'm informed, at Vision have a students wellness center initiative, whereby we have professionally trained personnel who are equipped with the methods and the mechanisms to provide to the students, so that the students can manage their stress. Now, at this student wellness center, this initiative, you can get help, for example, in terms of the techniques like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is, in simple terms, changing your thought patterns or focusing on changing your thought patterns, so that you can achieve mental well-being, or smart goal setting, right? Having smaller goals and understanding what is urgent and what is important, and understanding that when you can take a pause. Now, when it is done by professionals who are trained in this area, it yields better results. So that is what is also an attempt at the student wellness center at Vision IAS.
So, sir, this initiative, is it for Vision student or is it open to other students also?
So, Kapil, this initiative would not only be helpful for Vision student, but the good thing is that it is open to all students who require help. This is a readily available mechanism that one can avail, and so far, since the month of April, around 300 students have been counseled through this process. They have taken the benefit.
Sir, so before we end our session, any final words about managing stress to the students you would like to share?
So it's understanding that we are all part of a human community, and many human experiences are similar. So the world that you see around, the individuals that you see around, all of us have stress, and the realization that managing stress is required sometimes is not an aspect of our school education or our socialization. So we get to learn about it. For example, in my own case, I got to learn about it late in life, but it is also a lifelong exercise. So, throughout our life, as the definition says, stress is only our automatic physical, mental, emotional response to difficulties. Throughout our life, we would face stress. Some amount of stress is good, it helps you in improving your performance. But if stress is not managed, it can spiral into more serious conditions like depression and anxiety. So try to intervene as early as possible by understanding that we all have to understand our bodies, our emotions, and our mind. And this is a lifelong exercise which has benefits beyond any achievements, benefits in terms of well being. It adds to a life well lived. And I would also like to add a simple understanding of this thought process as it goes on. Somebody has said that if you are depressed, you are living in the past; if you are anxious, you are living in the future; and if you are happy, that means you are living in the present. So we only have this present moment to focus on, and if we can remind ourselves of this, any complex goal can be broken down into what can be done currently, what can be done at this moment, and this would give you an ability to gain control over your circumstances. So I hope that all of you and all of us are able to live in the present moment, because this is the only moment where we have any amount of control.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Kapil.
So, aspirants, I hope now you have an idea how to manage your stress while preparing for UPSC. And I would also like to add that seeking help is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. So, if you need some professional help managing your stress and anxiety, do contact us at Student Wellness Cell. Thank you.